She's got a sweet spirit. She's very kind. She's got a great heart for other people.
When I first met him, Warren has a heart like no other. He's always looking after for others.
She puts others way above herself, always. She's always put her family and children above herself. I mean, she's naturally beautiful, inside and out, and out. I found no fault in her at all.
Oh, that's sweet, honey. I went to the Monroe High in 10th grade, and then I met Gordon there, and he actually came into my class. I was sitting in music class, right?
Yeah, I got kicked out of the band.
Yeah.
So they put me in the choir practice, the choir thing there.
Yes.
And that's where I met you.
And all the chairs were like rounded, and you sat in it, and there was an empty chair next to me. So that's when we started talking and everything. And then I always went to the dances on the weekends. My brother and I, we danced all the time. So I asked him, I'd say, "Are you going to the dance Friday night?" He'd go, he was real shy and backward.
Oh,
Yes,
just
he
a little
was.
bit. I said, "Am I going to dance? I'm playing music at the dance.
Yeah.
I'm the band."
So anyway, I'd go to the dance, and sure enough, here he'd come, or he was playing music there. He graduated a year ahead, so he was already out and working, bought his brand new car, first car, and everything, and played in the band. And
Just started playing music when I was just a little kid there. Had my daddy, he signed for me to buy one of them Hammond organs down at Grinnell Brothers, you know. And I played music with the Renegades. And made enough money to make the payments on that old organ.
I mean, what a blessing he has that God has anointed him to play the music like he does and write songs, and just his everything about him, just, you know, how God made him.
You chased me all over that school.
Yeah, that's the truth. I had to pursue him because he was kind of backward and shy. Like I said, he didn't want to really, you know, wasn't very outgoing, I guess, even though you played music out, you know.
I didn't have time for girls.
Yeah.
We just wanted to make it big, man. We wanted to be rock stars.
Yeah. Right. He finally asked me out on a date, so we went out on a date.
It wasn't bad. No, it was okay. Go out there and steam the car windows up a little bit, you know. I mean, it went pretty well, you know. Went to the parking snack, got a moon burger, and then we started going steady.
Well, we ended up dating about 2 years, and then we got married right out of high school.
Yeah, about 2 years.
We got engaged at Christmas time.
I put it in a box of candy.
Yeah.
And I gave it to her, and she opened it up, and then she was eating the candy, and then found the engagement ring in there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did you get down on one knee?
No.
No, I got both on both knees.
We got married in the following June.
June 28th.
So we paid for our own little wedding that we had,
Yeah.
and it was very small. I borrowed my brother's wife. They had already got married. I wore her dress in the wedding. I bought new shoes. He had a tuxedo already that he played in the band with, so he got it dry cleaned. He bought new shoes. So that's all we had to get married.
Yeah, we had a crooked wedding cake and a six-pack of Strohs.
My neighbor made the wedding cake, yes, and it was crooked, you know. She wasn't really a baker, but she made it for us. My mom just had like a smorgasbord of food at the house, and we had our relatives over. We didn't have a lot of money or anything. We just knew we loved each other. We wanted to be together. And that's what we did. That's how we started out.
I got a job on the railroad, and then I landed a job at Ford here in Monroe, and was able to raise our family, and
Yes.
put in 34 years at Ford before I retired in 2005. Played in some groups and stuff, and we went out and we played a lot of nightclubs, 4 and 5 nights a week. So I made good money. And I played in some groups and stuff. And we went out and started playing nightclubs and stuff like that. And but later on, then I went on drums and bought me a set of drums down at Grinnell Brothers. And started playing nightclubs and stuff like that. And then came to the Lord. Got tired of that kind of life. Wasn't doing much good for anybody. So anyway, her and I both, we gave our hearts to the Lord. And then I bought a piano and started playing keyboards. And when the old synthesizers came out, started buying some of them and got in gospel groups and been playing Christian music for, I don't know, for 50 years.
Yep.
So, and that's been a good life, playing in the Christian groups and the bands with met a lot of good people and a lot of good friends on the way, and done a lot of good things and ministered to a lot of people and seen a lot of miracles from God along the way. Yeah,
yes.
That's for sure.
Well, after we were married for a couple months is when I got pregnant.
My uncle down south was a recruiter for the Air Force, and a couple of my other uncles had already been in the Air Force, and so I was going to go join in the Air Force to get an education anyway. And but we was talking to him about, it came up that she was pregnant. And says, well, if you don't want, I was ready to sign the papers, and he said, well, if you really don't want to go right now, of course I didn't, because my band was was really getting good and on the verge, and I just had got married. Of course, you don't want to leave your wife, and told him that she was pregnant, and he says, well, all you got to do is go down to the office and tell them, and they'll reclassify you 3A, and you won't have to go unless it's absolutely necessary. I did, so anyway, I never did go, but then I looked at a lot of my friends that went, and some of my best friends, especially one that I played music with for a long time, was only gone over there for like about a month and got killed.
David weighed 9 pounds and 10 ounces when he was born. So I had a C-section with David, which back then, over 50 years ago, that was unusual.
It was a nightmare.
Oh, it was bad. It was. We had to rock him all the time to sleep. Well, see, he was spoiled to rocking, and you could rock him and he'd go to sleep, and as soon as you go real quietly, laid him in the crib, you walk out of the room, no sooner be out of the room, crying again, have to go and get him. It was bad because, of course, this is your first child and you don't know what to do with him. And so he kind of drove us crazy for a little bit when he was, until he got a little bit older. And then, of course, he was by himself, and I always wanted you to go and play with him, didn't you, Gordon?
Oh, yeah.
In the playroom, and Gordon would put these blocks up, stack them up real high, and then Gordon would knock them over and go, wow. So David got used to that, and so that's what he called his wow room, right?
Yeah. He was a case. He was a character.
Yeah.
And then when he was just a little fella, I set him up on a set of drums and started teaching him how to play drums, and he's a great drummer today.
Yes.
I disciplined him really pretty hard on them drums, and when he didn't hit them just right or just started to speed up or slow down, I'd say, hey. I'd call him down, and but boy, I'll tell you what, it really, the work that it paid off in the long run, because he's a tremendous musician. He's a good arranger. He's really good.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm proud of him. Yeah.
And then when David was little too, what he did, he has such a, I don't know, what would you call that? His mind to just think up things really easy.
Very creative.
Very creative. Because when he was little, he would go down the alley where we used to live, and he would get things out of the alley, like maybe a little piece of a motor here or whatever, and he would bring it down in the garage, and he just started working on stuff. We just left him alone. At first we thought, well, he's just dragging all the neighbors' junk down here, but then it kept him busy, and he had a creative mind, so he would be working in the garage, and he'd put together like these little carts and things with motors, and always loved motors. He loved those little lawnmowers, remember? Yeah. When he was little, those little lawnmowers that has a clicker, and you push him, and he still loved to mow grass to this day.
Yeah, he'd go down my brother's house. He had about 2 or 3 acres, and Dave would go out there with a push mower. And instead of visiting and playing with the kids, he'd be, hey, Harvey, can I mow your grass? He'd be out there for 7, 8 hours, sweating like a dog,
Yeah.
mowing grass. Just sitting there. I said, Dave, what are you doing that for? He said, I just love the sound of that motor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I tell you, he's a great mechanic. You know, not only
Yes.
a good drummer, but that boy, he can work
Yeah.
on some. He would get an old dragging old lawnmower, somebody throw it out that hadn't run for years, and bring it up there at that garage. And a few hours later, you'd hear it fire up out there, and
Yeah.
he'd get her running and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's paid off. He's a good mechanic too. Great mechanic.
Yeah. 18 months later, then I had Leslie. Leslie was born. She's such a little joy and such a doll. Leslie was born with this big, thick hair, head of black hair, real curly,
Full head of hair.
full head of hair. People would ask me, "Do you have a wig on that baby?" If I take her somewhere, and Leslie was such a perfect child, a perfect child, perfect child, a perfect child. Always obedient. Always obedient. Always obedient.
Leslie, stop that!
I hardly remember Leslie even crying as a child, as a baby. But the only time she cried maybe is when she get hurt. But even then, a lot of times she just be big tears would just roll down her eyes. But she wouldn't like cry out, like a lot of children would.
People that from schools and I say, "Oh, just thank you so much for having Leslie. She's been such a joy."
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yes.
yeah, I think about her sometime, and I marvel at how I don't know, just what a good child she's been, what a good person that she's turned out to be. I don't think anybody could ask for anybody any better.
Yeah. 5 years later, I had Angie. Angie was the baby. We spoiled her.
spoiled
Everybody
her.
spoiled her.
She was spoiled, but she's really a good one too.
When Angie was born, Leslie, that was like her baby.
I was 5 at the time, and then my brother was 7, and I was just the little baby that they wanted to take care of. And Leslie was like the little mom, sister to me.
My dad brought a picture home from the hospital of her, and I slept with it, and I ruined the picture because I was so excited I had a baby sister.
Because Leslie always loved kids. And even when Leslie was little and we'd have company come over, instead of Leslie playing with kids her age, she wanted to be with the little babies or someone had a smaller child, and she would always fool with kids. She's always loved kids. So Leslie asked me before even Andrew was born, "Mom, have another baby, have another baby."
When she was home, I did everything I could to wake her up. I'd stomp around the house and be loud, but pretend like I really wasn't being loud, like I wasn't doing it on purpose because I didn't want to get in trouble that I was going to wake the baby. But I just wanted to hold her all the time and take care of her like she was my own baby. And so we gave her everything she wanted.
Anything Angie wants, Angie gets, my dad always said, so.
And it still is.
Pretty much.
But Angie, she was just the cutest little thing when she was little because she was always really smaller, for her age. And everybody just loved her. She would just dance and sing and when she would go to church, she
cut it up, buddy.
She loved dancing and praising the Lord, and she would sometimes be at home in the dining room. I'd be in the kitchen, and I'd have some Christian music going, and I'd look in there, and she'd be in the dining room with her hands raised up, and she didn't know the words, but she'd just kind of ad-lib a little bit, and be singing them songs and stuff, and she was just always so cute, wasn't she? Everybody just loved Angie when she was little.
We always played a lot of games. There was always a lot of family time. We always ate our meals together. We always were at the dinner table. We always prayed as a family every day and always trusting God. And that was always the center of our family. That is probably the biggest thing that has influenced my life because that's how I've always done it. I've always trusted God through everything, prayer, faith, and just believing. And it helps me not to worry. I don't worry about things because I just pray about it and I give it to God like my mom and dad taught me how to do. My favorite thing about my dad is how he plays his music and he inspires people everywhere he goes.
When I worked down at Ford Motor Company, I'd have the older guys come up to me all the time. When they find out my last name, they'd be like, "Your last name's Deaton, you're related to Gordon Deaton?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's my dad." They'd be like, "Man, wow, what an incredible guy," talking about how Dad played drums back in the day and about the music and everything, and it was made me so proud.
No, we just had a home full of love and laughter.
I had a great childhood because of my mom and dad.
You know, sometimes you,
Well,
you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. I used to tease Angie.
Yeah.
I said I was out in there and a school bus came around the corner and it tipped over and all the kids fell out, their heads fell off and the heads were rolling all over and they were getting and some kid got your head and you was Peggy. It was on Angie's body. She, oh no, Dad, no.
She used to cry all the time.
Right, yeah, so
They would
you're not
tease her.
really Angie, you're Peggy.
Yeah, your name's Peggy.
No, I mean I never teased the kids to a point of making them angry or mad or hurting them or nothing like that. Never. That I would never do that. But we might say, oh, like we go to down the road or something like that and say, oh, let's get an ice cream. Well, we might go past that ice cream place, but on the way back we go to Independent Dairy to another place. You know, sometimes you need a McDonald's and sometimes you don't. You know.
We've just always had a really close, loving family.
We always had our mom and dad there for us.
They're just the best parents I could ever ask for.
And we had 3 nice little children there, and just had to make it. Sometimes we had, and sometimes we had not.
That's right.
But we were all right through the good times and the bad times.
Yes.
And, so nothing changed. The way we looked toward one another and our family. We just
Yes.
no matter if we had steak or bologna sandwiches, it didn't make no difference to us. We were very, very, very fortunate and very happy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't trade any of it.
Yeah.
Every step of the way, God
Yeah.
had and ordained every little step that we took.